Hi, Colin here. This is Sharleen, and I have known each other for a few years at the Rangers Conference, which is where we are now, and we're getting together next month at the Australian Institute of Animal Management National Conference.
National conference next month, yes.
Next month, and you're quite involved in that, Sharleen?
Yes, I've been West Australia's representative on the national committee for 10 years. And
Wow, cool.
I'm at the executive level, so pretty heavily involved in coordinating and showcasing industry best practice.
Cool, okay. Now, Sharleen has one of our dog fences, and I also help Sharleen when she's teaching Certificate 4 in Animal Management, and I go in and do a bit of a speech on how they work. So how's the fence gone with you? Firstly, why did you get the fence?
Why did I get the fence? Because I have a beautiful dog that we love, and I live on a couple of acres, or small hobby farm.
Yep.
And, well, it's all not fenced, and the fenced area is quite small, and Princess being Saint Bernard, I wanted her to be able to have free run of the property.
You should see this dog. She's absolutely beautiful. Massive Saint Bernard, and I believe some of her relatives are used.
Oh, on TV, on the RAC ad,
Yep.
in the back seat is
Yep.
her mum and her grandma.
Right.
And the car that breaks down in the heat.
Yeah, that's it. And big slobbery dogs, they're beautiful. And the thing about Sharleen's property is
No fences.
no front fence at all. And not such a busy road out the front, because I went up to help install it and we did the training. Now, not such a busy road, but still it has its own dangers. So what were your fears? What were you worried about?
Well, just beyond that part of the road, it's 110 slowing down through the town, but people don't slow down through the town. So there's quite a few issues. I wanted her to run the whole property and have that freedom of movement, which is important to dogs, to have freedom of movement. But I certainly couldn't afford to fence the whole property, so this was a great. And fences, I don't really think are that fantastic anyway. They dig under them, they break, they go around, etc.
You'd be amazed how many people we call up, and I've been to people's properties where they've got 8-foot high dog-proof fences with the ring lock, small ring lock at the bottom, going up to the bigger, and they're living in something that is, looks like Alcatraz. And we come along and we put the fence system down, and within 10 minutes of doing the training, the dog will not go across the front of the property. Same result with Princess.
Yeah. Just a couple of 5-10 minutes, and she totally had the concept.
The training we explain in another sort of area, but we saw results with Princess. And now get this, she's 4 months old when she's first trained on this property, so she's big enough to understand, intelligent enough to do the training and understand the guidelines, and our collars are low enough to have least amount of impact on the dog and yet get that sort of result. Now the training is very specific. We went one little bit at a time. How many days training did you do?
Well, I did the 3 days like I was supposed to, but I was pretty convinced that she had the whole concept on the first day. But I kept going, being young and making sure it was really embedded, but she picked it up pretty quickly.
Always wise to get the training done properly, and that's all set out. Probably 4 or 5 days, depending on circumstances. Charlene went through the whole process because she has no front fence, so there's no physical reference and no visual reference for the dog. Results since then now, Sharleen, is 18 months down the track now, is that right?
Yeah, 18 months we've had the fence for. Yep.
She's pretty big now. And what sort of results have you got?
Fantastic. She's never left the property.
No?
Never left. And we have had plenty of, what's the word? Tests.
Tempting situations.
Tempting situations. We had actually a big show on up the road, and out front of our property going past was a procession of horses, carts, dogs, the whole bit, 20 odd or so.
Yep.
She sat, she was excited and really wanted to go and join in, but there was no question that she just knows she just ought not go out.
Sharleen comes across a lot of people in training ranges, and they do tell us a lot of experiences. Now the one thing I point out is the battery life. Sharleen hasn't had to change the battery in the collar, and it's still going. We have a battery indicator light on there. Still going strong? Yeah, I'm going to drop her a free battery for doing this interview today too, by the way, so
thanks,
this is not free.
But look, I don't have a problem talking about the fence because I think they're absolutely fantastic. Done the right way, installed properly, trained the dog properly, totally foolproof. She's never left. And even people in the neighbourhood that walk their dogs past and that, they're always in. Everyone in the neighbourhood knows Princess. It's the big Saint Bernard, runs around in the front yard and running free and never leaves. It's brilliant.
There's a lot of things that go down to that, and you probably read when you're doing your research as well. the battery life is very important. The ability to train the dog at low impact is extremely important from my perspective.
Sure, yeah.
And also to give the dogs the impression that whatever's on the other side of the fence is really not worth tempting. And the other thing is, very interestingly, have you found that she's been more settled and territorial on her property?
She's certainly a very happy dog, well
Yeah.
adjusted, because like I said, freedom of movement is important to dogs.
Yeah.
So,
We were talking about the hierarchy of what's important to people and what's important to dogs. Some things that I'm aware of, and I'm no expert by a long stretch, but I've been doing this for a long time. They like to have their pack and their home sort of environment.
Yeah.
Yep. They like to feel like they have freedom and a place in the pack as well.
And choices. And,
Yep, that's it. So tying a dog up or keeping them in a pen can lead to other psychological problems, which you
Certainly,
can.
yeah. And it's recognised around the world. In America, if you tie a dog up for more than an hour, you get done for cruelty.
Is that right?
Yeah, so
Yeah.
I mean, they've recognised that it's not a good thing. But yeah, she's a happy, well, and she's also a classroom dog, so she has to be a happy, well-adjusted dog.
Yeah.
Because we could have issues if she wasn't. Yeah.
Take her into your classroom when you're doing the training.
She's teaching them. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, cool. Very good. The other results I kind of encourage people to train for is that situation where there's something tempting on the other side of the fence. The good thing about starting so young, I suppose, is the fact that she's grown up in that environment. She knows no difference.
Yeah.
You taught her this is her territory, and it's not hard to break bad habits, but it's always those things. So some of the things we really find that make a big difference is the speed of the reaction of the collar, the ability to train them at the low levels, and the pulse rate and the intensity of what they actually feel should they venture into the system.
Yeah.
But it's not uncommon for us to stop a dog running through an open gate within the first 10 minutes of the training, similar to what happened with Princess.
Yeah, no, she just responded beautifully to it.
Yeah, good. And cost-wise, I suppose to do your whole property in a dog-proof fence that probably couldn't guarantee your dog wouldn't run through the open gate or dig under or jump over. Cost was.
Oh, I'd hate to think it cost me $3,000 to just to do the back fence along the back paddock. So you probably took about 10 grand for the fence to fence
Yeah,
the whole
huge,
property.
huge,
So
yeah.
huge amount.
I-
And the other thing is, if I ever move, I can just pull up the fence and
Get
take
Colin
it
to
with
move
me.
it to her next house.
Yeah, thanks, Cole.
All right, Sharleen, no worries. Well, we'll leave it there. That was one of the larger property systems that Sharleen's got, and we went with the premium collar.
We did, yeah. And it was well worth it. Oh, just a little story though.
Yeah.
I guess this is one of the side benefits is that the dog just knowing that it's its boundary. We had a worker in the area that cut through the cable,
Ah.
so which basically deactivated the fence. Dog still never moved off the property.
No, that's it. I used to have this system on my box dog, and when before she left and went over Rainbow Bridge, but if the dog wash guy didn't plug the system back in, it would take Missy 2 weeks to pluck up the courage to even test the system, and that makes a big difference. And there are we at the Rangers conference, I'm speaking to so many rangers where the battery life makes such a big difference as well. A lot of dogs can sit in the warning zone on some systems, listen to the beeping noise, run the battery down, and then as soon as the beeping stops, they're off. And how many people, I know I don't have enough time to go out and check the dog's battery, and then you get a bit complacent and you think, well, hang on, I don't really need to change the batteries because the dog's not escaping, and then all of a sudden there's what? Vet bills?
Vet bills, and if you've caused a crash, then you get the mechanical bills and
The liability,
pedal
'cause-
beaters and
yeah.
the whatever injuries, you'll be getting the medical bills, the whole bit.
I think these days you're pretty lucky that if you have to pay $300 in a pound fee, you're pretty lucky because the other, the alternatives, paying for damages or accidents your dog's cause or goes and injures someone or other livestock, pretty incredible.
Besides the fact that I really do love my dog and I'd like to keep her.
All right, no worries. Well, we'll see you next month
See you next month. At the Nationals.
At the Nationals, awesome. All right.
Thanks, Cole.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.